Hello and welcome to EHC-TV. My name is Chandler and this is your EHC-TV news interview. In college, we have a lot of things that we have to overcome. It's not always easy being a college student. That's why it's good that we have organizations to help us overcome these issues, like Student Success being one of them. Joining me today is the Assistant Vice President for Retention of our Emory and Henry Student Success Organization, Travis Proffitt. Thank you for being here, Travis.
Thank you, Chandler.
All right, well, so can you tell us a little bit about, okay, first of all, you are the Vice President for Retention. Can you tell us a little bit about what Student Success is and about what your title is, what you do?
Sure. So this role is a little bit new for me. Actually, February the 1st was my first day on the job in this new position.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited because, I had been the Dean of Student Success for the past 3 years. And so the Assistant Vice President for Retention role is meant to be able to transcend all areas of campus where we might be noticing issues that might be impacting students' experience here. Anything that might have a negative impact on students' decision to want to remain at Emory and Henry and to graduate from Emory and Henry. It is now my responsibility in this role to work with those areas of campus to identify what the issues are, seek solutions, and work to implement them with the appropriate offices. So my scope is a little bit bigger than it used to be when I was very specifically in the Office of Student Success, which is a big office on campus, but not institutional necessarily.
Well, could you tell us, if you don't mind sharing,
Sure,
some of the things that may prevent a student from wanting to come to Emory and Henry and some of the solutions that you provide?
Yeah, well, I mean, we know there's a range of reasons that might impact a student's decision to remain at a college that they enrolled in. Obviously, a big one that we see pretty frequently are maybe there was a change in a family's financial situation that impacts a student's ability to afford to be here, right? We know that college is an investment. And so if a student, though, does come to us and say, I want to be at Emory and Henry, but I'm having a hard time affording this, then we'll work with, say, for instance, the Office of Financial Aid to try and see if there are some options that we can look at to help a student be able to remain here and to afford to be able to be here. Another big reason, and it's one of the main functions of the Student Success Office, is that we sometimes see that students maybe don't come with the academic habits and skills that they need to be successful in a college learning environment. And so the Office of Student Success is there to very much provide those kinds of resources, right? And whether it's in terms of working on study skills or time management skills, to be able to access tutoring and supplemental instruction for some of those classes that are particularly tough. Students that might need accommodations to help them with their learning experience here. That's why the Office of Student Success exists, is to help students be able to overcome academic barriers to being successful here and to being able to remain here. And then I would say finally, another big bucket is just students' wellness, right? If a student becomes sick, physically sick, or they're experiencing mental illness or mental distress, we know that can really affect a student's ability to be able to remain in college and to be successful here. And so our Student Health Center, our Counseling Center, and some of the other resources that we provide in those areas are here to help students be well so that they can do well here. So I would say those are a few of the big reasons that might impact a student's decision to stay or not.
Now, you had mentioned classes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, midterm grades are coming up.
They sure are.
Yeah, midterms are coming up. What roles do you all play in that as far as your role and as Student Success goes?
Yeah, one of the big things that we'll be gearing up for, so yes, midterm grades are due this Friday, March the 1st. And once Our office actually gets all the midterm grades, and so we know kind of at the midpoint how everybody's doing. And we look at folks, and if we see that a student is really struggling in their classes at midterm, our office is going to be reaching out to that student to say, hey, something seems to maybe be going on this first half of the semester, but we want you to finish out strong. We want you to finish as successfully as possible. How can we be supportive of you? What resources might you need to turn that ship around a little bit, right? So that's one of the big things that we're really gearing up for in the Office of Student Success in particular is we're waiting on midterm grades to reach us so that we kind of know who are some students that we really might need to reach out to and offer some extra support here in the second half of the semester.
So per students needing that type of help, do you all offer counseling as well?
Sure. So there's mental health counseling available for students, and you know, it's not uncommon, Chandler, that in a conversation with a student about them maybe not succeeding in a class, we come to find out that it is a mental health reason that's having an impact on the student's success in a classroom. And so that's where we might make a suggestion or even physically walk down the hall with a student to our counseling center to see if they might be willing and able to speak with the counselor. Sometimes there's a hesitancy for that, and so we'll also be sure to make sure that a student has the Timely Care app on their phone, because then the great thing about the Timely Care app is the student has 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week access to a mental health counselor on their phone. So we try to create a variety of options for students to get the resources that they need.
Oh, okay. Well, now you were talking about students not succeeding in classes and having those conversations. How do you usually go about handling those conversations?
Well, I think it's really important that students know that if they get reached out to by the Office of Student Success, they're not in trouble, right? They're not getting called to the proverbial principal's office. We are truly 100% just there to help, right? And so we'll reach out to a student and ask if they would be interested to come in and speak with us. And I think one of the really important things is that we don't make a student come to Student Success. It has to be up to them to decide to do that, right? So, and the reason why that's true is that if a student says, yes, I would like to come meet with you, then we know that that student is open to receiving help, right? Because they've opted to come and speak with us. And so when they come, though, I think it's important to not just start the conversation with what's not going well, but to start the conversation with what is going well, right? What are the bright spots in their semester? What's a class or two that they are doing really well in? And why are they doing well in that class, but maybe not this one, right? Because every student at this college has gifts, and they have strengths, and they have intelligence. And we want to tap into that. Just because you're struggling in a class doesn't mean you're a failure, right? It doesn't mean that there's something wrong. It just means that there might be something going on that we could try to help with. But I think it's important that we always start any conversation with the assumption that the student that's sitting there has many gifts, many curiosities, many skills to bring to the table. And we want to tap into that before we start addressing maybe the obstacles that are in place.
Yeah. Well, one last question.
Sure.
So you are, as a part of Student Success, we're coming up on midterms in the middle of the semester. We're coming up on the second half too. So
Yes.
as somebody who worked in Student Success, do you have any advice for students about, going into the second half and coming up on midterms and things like that?
Yeah. Take care of yourself. That's my biggest piece of advice, right? Because if you're exhausted, if you're not eating well, if you're not nourishing yourself both physically and emotionally and spiritually, it's hard to do well in the other things that take your time and energy. So take care of yourself. That's the big one. And then, maybe some of us are really awesome at managing our time, but maybe some of us still have some work to do there. And so I would also encourage folks, if they feel like at the end of the day, that they're not burning midnight oil to sort of get everything done that needs to be done, awesome. But if they do find themselves continuing to struggle with finishing up all the tasks of the day and it's going well way late into the night, maybe come to Student Success and let's talk about some time management strategies, because it is very possible. It may not seem possible, but I promise it is, that a student, even a very busy student athlete with a full-time schedule and campus employment and all those things, can do what they need to do during the day and early evening and be able to be done with their work at a reasonable time, so that you can have maybe an hour or two to relax, right? Watch some Netflix, and then get to bed at a decent hour so that you're getting a good night's sleep, so that your body and your mind are healthy.
All right, well, Travis, thank you so much for this interview.
Yeah.
This was really good.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. For EHC-TV, this has been Chandler Foster with